Boston Celtics fans, you guys have been crushing it this month on Celtics Today by Chat Sports with the subscribes, comments, and likes. But I have one more favor to ask you guys. Go on ahead and share this video. Why? Because this time last year, you guys were crushing it as well. 78 shares last March. However, we are just slightly underneath that goal this month of 59 shares. So I have one more challenge for you guys. Go on ahead and send this video, hit that little share button below this video, and send it to at least one Boston Celtic fan, as I have big injury updates you and every other Boston Celtics fan is going to want to know about. The Boston Celtics have 7 players on their injury report ahead of the Detroit Pistons game, and I get it. It's the Detroit Pistons, and it's a back-to-back after they just played the Wizards last night, so I'm not that concerned about it. However, there are 2 main players that I am concerned about their injury update, which is exactly what we're going to talk about here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot. Let's go ahead and break down what Mr. Sam Hauser almost did last night versus the Wizards. He was one shot away from tying the Celtics franchise record of most made three-pointers in one game, which is held by Marcus Smart, which we do miss him, but he could have broken that record, but he got injured. In the third quarter, he did not return because it was a blowout of a game, so there's no need to put Sam Hauser back in there. But let's talk about what Hauser did against the Wizards. A 30-piece, 6 rebounds, tying Jason Tatum for the team lead in rebounds as well, and he made every single shot a three-pointer. 10 for 13 from downtown. I do not care if you are playing a rec team. If you are playing a JV high school team, you make 10 three-pointers in a game, that is insane. Not to mention, he did it in 3 quarters. Like I said, he got hurt. He tweaked his ankle. He went back to the locker room. He was hobbling a little bit. What was super cool is Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. is where they were playing this game, and he got a standing ovation from both Wizards and Celtics fans because he was just in his bag that game. And Al Horford actually thought he was going to break the record. He said he had such a good rhythm. It was pretty cool to see, and I was hoping he was going to go for 15, even break the Celtics record, but also go for the league record. Well, thankfully, they did do an x-ray on Sam Hauser's ankle just after the game. Joe Mazzulla said this was precautionary, as we have now seen what a lethal weapon Sam Hauser can be for the Celtics going into the playoffs. Adam Himmelsbach did say, according to a league source, Sam Hauser avoided serious injury when he sprained his ankle in the midst of a historic shooting performance Sunday and is not expected to be sidelined for an extended period. That is huge, because I understand players can get into a rhythm, players can go on a hot streak, but 10 made threes, we know what Sam Hauser can do. That's not a fluke, because since the All-Star game, he has been shooting 52% from downtown in 12 games. And you got to remember, Sam Hauser at most plays probably 24 minutes per game, just because most of the Celtics have good opponents, and they are the number 1 team in the NBA. But nonetheless, Sam Hauser has shown the versatility he can provide in the playoffs, especially if they're going up a team and they have a huge gap between scores. You put Sam Hauser back in there, drain a couple of catch-and-shoot threes, and you're back in that ball game, no problem. So I think it's time to give him some love. I need you guys to go on ahead and put your 30s on 30s on 30s on 30s in the chat down below. House money time, as we have seen what the kid from UVA can do, and he can definitely make a difference for the Boston Celtics. There's another player that can make a huge difference for the Boston Celtics, and that's Kristaps Porzingis. I have a huge injury update on Kristaps Porzingis coming up on the back half of the show. You guys are not going to want to miss this, but you're also not going to want to miss this amazing promotion going on right now in the number 1 daily fantasy sports app, Prize Picks. If you guys want to go play Prize Picks, it's super easy. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money. So they do have a great promotion going on right now. If you win a prize pick that has all green goblins in it, you win a free entry. And if you're wondering what the heck is a green goblin, Allie, well, see those little green guys next to the projected stats? That's a goblin. That means it's an easier pick, but it doesn't pay as much. However, if you see a red version of him, that's a demon, which means it's a harder pick, kind of harder for that player to hit that stat line, but it is going to pay out a lot more. So I made prize picks of all Goblins. I've got Wiggins to have more than 7.5 points. I'm always going to take Steph Curry with the more when it comes to three-pointers. So I've got more than 3.5 three-pointers made. And Jimmy Butler to just make 1 3. Those are my Green Goblin picks. I want to win a free entry, and I want to help you guys as well. So all you guys have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Be sure to use that promo code CLNS. That's how PrizePicks knows you're coming from Chat Sports, and you can win you can get a deposit match up to $100 on your first time deposit. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Let's talk about Tingus Pingus, shall we? KP has missed 5 straight games for the Boston Celtics. He's been lingering with this hamstring injury. However, there's only 15 more regular season games left. So I'm a little nervous that this injury, whatever it is going to linger into the postseason. Because the Boston Celtics have already clinched postseason play. They were the first NBA team to do so. But with 15 games left, that's not a lot of time for Kristaps to really get the rehab he needs if it is a severe injury, which Mazzulla doesn't think it is. If you want to go on ahead and look at what Porzingis has done the past 4 years, as you can see, he's played for 3 different ball clubs in the past 4 seasons, but he is coming off his most games played season last year with the Washington Wizards, 65 games. As of right now, he's only played 45 for the Celtics, mainly because Mazzulla has been resting him most of those games and been playing Al Horford, vice versa. But he did only play 43 games a couple years ago against Dallas. And why? Because Kristaps Porzingis is, quite frankly, made of glass. I would be too if I was 7'3" and I was doing the things that Kristaps Porzingis does night in and night out. So I think it's great that the Celtics do have Al Horford, where they can play Al Horford, sit Porzingis. Play Porzingis, sit Al Horford. You've got plenty of room on your depth chart to be able to give him that time to recover. And the good news is, Joe Mazzulla gave this update about 4 days ago, saying he's getting better and better and better. But now the most recent update to come out about Kristaps Porzingis that he is probable to return tonight versus the Detroit Pistons. However, he may be on a bit of a load management. They really don't see the need to extend Kristaps Porzingis' injury report because they're playing against the Pistons. However, don't knock the Pistons. We did that once, and we did go into overtime with them, and they almost beat the Heat last night despite a Bam Adebayo 3-point at the buzzer. So, KP will be needed tonight against the Detroit Pistons, which is insane to say. But the good news is that if KP needed to rest tonight or any more games in the regular season, which I am okay with, if that means he's good for the postseason, the bench players have been stepping up. And you guys know this if you've been watching me the entire season, I'm not a big Luke Cornett fan. However, I have become one of his fans because of how he has stepped up. And I want to point out this tweet by the Celtics file saying, Brian, on Luke Cornett being a rotational piece for the Celtics in the playoffs. He said, I wasn't sure about Luke Cornett being a rotational player when it comes to playoff times. You guys know this about me. I was not hot on Luke Cornett at all. However, I agree with Brian here saying I'm fairly certain that he's a rotational player in the playoffs, and if it's not for us, it's for somebody. And I think he's made a name for himself in the Boston area, especially because he does have to play a lot of minutes with Al Horford being 37 years old, Kristaps Porzingis being made of glass, and then Neemias Queta is still a younger player that I do want to get more reps in. Xavier Tillman is coming to be a pretty good option in that depth chart while Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis do sit. He made his start last night against the Washington Wizards. But I do think Luke Cornett is probably your best rotation piece at the center position if Kristaps Porzingis can't go. However, the Celtics do still have one more spot on their roster. If you look at that Celtics center depth chart, they really don't need to add any more depth to that position. And I personally do think Neemias Queta is going to earn himself a full contract in the NBA, as right now he is a two-way player, which means he cannot play in the playoffs, and he can't play more than 50 regular season games in the NBA. Well, Brad Stevens did say something about Neemias, saying, look, we have to continue to evaluate everything for that last roster spot we have open, but Neemias done a great job. Like, he's done a great job, which is a really high praise for Brad Stevens on Neemias Queta, but I'm still a little bit worried that Kristaps Porzingis will have this lingering injury into the postseason. So, how worried are you guys about Porzingis' injuries in the playoffs? As you've seen, he played 65 games last year for the Wizards. They didn't make it into the postseason. So scale it 1 to 10 if you're worried that Porzingis may have an injury in the postseason, and they should fill that final roster spot. Go on ahead and put 1 through 10 down below. And while you guys are doing that, just go on ahead and share this video, like I said, to at least one Boston Celtic fan. Get the word out about Kristaps and Sam Hauser injury updates. They're going to want to hear about it. While you guys are at it, don't forget, hit that sub button for me.